Hey guys, Rochelle here with Amethyst Ascension. If you are new here, welcome, and if you are returning, thank you so much for joining me again. So today I am going to be doing a talk about the full moon that is coming up on the 24th. It's at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and let me turn the light on really quick. And so for Pacific Standard Time or Daylight Time, it's 4:30 a.m., 5:30 for Mountain, 6:30 for Central, 7:30 for Eastern, and what is that? Greenwich time. I'm not sure exactly the actual name for that. The GMT time is 12:30 p.m. So that's like people like in the UK or parts of the UK, which is like 5 hours ahead. So it is actually in Leo. Western astrology would have you believe that it's in Virgo, but it is definitely in the center. As you can see, it is in the center. Let me go to this. You can see it. It's 19 degrees, which is pretty much smack dab in the middle of Leo. And what makes the full moon is when it is in direct opposition to the sun, which is clear over here in Aquarius. So we have our sun that is actually roughly in direct opposition to Mercury, the sun, and Saturn right now. Okay, plus it is in a conjunction with the Black Moon Lilith, and it is squaring, what did I have here? It is squaring with the midheaven, the Imam Coeli. It is also squaring with Pallas Athene, the asteroid. It is in a trine with Jupiter and Ceres, the Great Mother. And it's in an opposition with, like I said, a conjunction, not an opposition, a conjunction with Black Moon Lilith. And it's in direct opposition with Saturn, Mercury, and the sun. So now this is universal, okay? This is universally where the moon is. It's in Leo in the 7th house universally, okay? However, if you want to find out where it is in your chart, keep in mind it's 19 degrees in the sign of Leo. So find out where, like in your birth chart, which mine, 19 degrees in Leo would be smack dab in the middle of my 2nd house. So it's affecting my 2nd house. So go and find where Leo, 19 degrees of Leo would be affecting. Granted, this is in true sidereal astrology. So it's not Western astrology. So let me go back to February. Oh, there we go. So because I like to journal in my digital journal, I have created a spreads deck, Love of Spreads Oracle deck, and it has 13 different full moon cards because it's a full deck of tarot spreads. So I have pulled out the full moon in Leo. However, I have 13 full moons because I also include Ophiuchus, and I have 13 new moons because I also include Ophiuchus. Plus there's other spreads in this as well if you haven't seen my deck, which my deck is available on Make Playing Cards. Now I want to show you just really quick before I get into this simple, this is for like if you just want an easy exploration really of you know, where the moon is like hitting you, how it's affecting you. Something as simple as this, right? However, if we go back to this chart, which I have provided for everybody in my Amethyst Ascension family group on Facebook, all the full moons and the new moons in chart form like this, with all of the symbols down below telling you what they are. Your Aspertarian chart is in with all of them, as well as different time zones. These are all included in my Amethyst Ascension group. It's just, this is my digital planner, and I don't put the whole big thing in there. So I just put it on the date. So if you go back to my February, this is my daily planner, and go back to the 24th, that's where I have the moon chart in here. However, I wanted to talk about some of these different aspects of this particular moon. Not in Virgo, but truly in the sky. If you look up in the sky or use a telescope, depending on where you live, and depending on the time of year, if you've got a lot of cloud cover, like we do here in Michigan, like a lot of the time, even at night, you can't hardly see the stars because of all of the light pollution that we have. So there are apps, there are astronomy apps that you can use and track where the celestial bodies are, where everything is. And that will also point to you that it is in Leo. So to show you, let me just move this aside. Like I said, we are in direct opposition to Mercury, the Sun, and Saturn with this moon. We are in a, what did I say? A trine, a trine with Jupiter and, what was the other one? Jupiter and and Ceres, the Great Mother. So I'm going to put all these out and show you with the other deck, one of the other decks that I have created. So we know that it's a full moon. Let's see if I can. We know that it's a full moon in Leo, right? So we're going to leave these cards, all part of my deck. So we know that we're in direct opposition to the Sun, Mercury, and Saturn. We are in a trine with Ceres and Jupiter. Let me get some stuff out of the way. We are in a square with Pallas Athene, the Imam Coeli, and the midheaven. And we are in a conjunction with the Black Moon Lilith. Now, personally, for me, Leo is in my second house on my birth chart. So the moon is in Virgo. So it would be, this moon would be affecting me technically if you're looking like through an astrological lens. It would be in my second house personally. However, universally, it's in like the 7th house. So I pulled this out just to show you on a chart where the houses are. The 7th house, because universally it is affecting the 7th house, which is on the side of the chart, which is known for where things just happen to you. It could be, so it's on the right-hand side, which has to do with like things that happen to you, right? Like destiny, like with all these like flares, these solar flares. Are we going through an ascension, a big ascension right now? So many people are feeling it, trust me. And it's up here, public. So it's not necessarily as universally, it's something that we are all kind of experiencing together. Privately, that depends on where it falls on your chart. Okay, personally, I should say, whether or not it's in the public or more of your private. So, If our moon is a reflection, has to do with emotions and your intuition and your feelings, and it's in the full moon phase, which is like a level of completion. It is a time of spiritual growth, and it's also working through your emotions. It's 180 degrees away from the sun, which means it is in direct opposition, right? The sun being self, identity, will. It's also in direct opposition to Mercury, the messenger, learning and communication and how we think, our processing, our mental processes. And then also in a direct opposition to Saturn, which is the great teacher, right? Structures and how you would think of discipline, systems, our matrix, so to speak, father time, right? So what does it mean when something is in opposition? It means that these celestial bodies are working against each other, which is funny because Leo is also ruled by the sun. And Leos are known for being radiant and proud and creative, like the center of attention, right? So with it being in a conjunction with Black Moon Lilith is all about like the places that we have carried shame, personal shame, where we have been shamed. I mean, when we think of Lilith, she was shamed because she did not want to remain subservient or lie under Adam. She felt like she was his equal. And so she was thrown out of Eden, right? When we look at that story, she was thrown out of Eden and then be made villainized, more or less, right? So it's those things that in astrology where we repress. Maybe it's society says, you're not supposed to be like this, you're not supposed to do this. If you do this, it's shameful, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's, ancestral wounds. Maybe it's things that you're taught from your religion. Any number of things. A lot of times it does have to do with sexuality because it is it is Lilith. So also, with it being squaring off. And a conjunction is where there's celestial bodies working together, okay? So if it's squaring off with Pallas Athene, Pallas is, she was the daughter of Zeus, but she was like the right-hand woman. She was the warrior for Zeus, like the god of gods, right? She would, and she was known for her wisdom. She's associated with the owl and prophecy. She had the ability to prophesy. And she was a healer as well. So squaring off means it's where celestial bodies challenge each other, but that's where learning comes in. It's like a great debate. It's not where they're not listening. It's where they're challenging each other to be better, more or less. It's turbulent, but they're challenging each other. So now we have Imam Kawali over here, and I'm not sure if you can see it. Okay, yes, Imam Kawali, which is the bottom part of your chart, right here. It's usually around this area, which I call this area like our roots, our ancestors, our ancestral lineage. That's also like spiritually where we have where we are in touch with like our spirit guides. Everybody looks at these things differently. That's how I see it, okay? So it is where we get messages from our spirit guides. It's the most intimate spot of our chart. And then we've got the midheaven. So it's squaring off with that as well. So the midheaven has to do with, which is the highest point of the chart, and then Imam Kawali is the lowest part of the chart. Has to do with public, professional, like your vocation, like your mission in life, right? So if they're, and let me go over here too, to the trine. So the trine is with Ceres, who is the great mother. So procreation, nurture, and nutrition, which is kind of also the archetype of the moon, which is like the mother and like the child, right? And then Jupiter, who was also like Zeus, or Jupiter, is the great benefic. So it is the largest planet. It is the most expansive planet. It's like it's said to be bulging at its center. So abundance, increase, and expansion. So it depends on, you know, whether or not that is a good thing. If it's something that you want more of, it's a good thing. If it's something that you don't want more of, it's not a good thing. Okay, so it's all in how you look at it. So with all of that laid out here, do you see, I see a story that's being told here about this moon and this moon's energy, which is in Leo, which is about being prideful, being shining in your own right, right? Being like the center of attention, just like being radiant and just brilliant, right? So, but in the moon, which is like reflection and spiritual growth and emotions. So, and in opposition with the sun and Mercury. So maybe like imposter syndrome, maybe having difficulty communicating with other people and breaking down of structures, or actually starting to look at some of the structures that we have held on to that have been a light, you know, that have shined a light on stuff and questioning it. Because we are in a conjunction with Black Moon Lilith, right? So a place of shame, that's what we're looking at. It's the moon is saying, let's look at some of these areas of our life, and also in a trine with the Great Mother and procreation and nurture and nutrition and Jupiter. So abundance, bringing, like really shedding light on those areas. Granted, like I said, it's a universal kind of thing in the 7th house. However, if you want to find out where it is personally, look and see where 19 degrees on your birth chart is, what house that is in, and that's the house that it is affecting you in personally, okay? And it's squaring off with. So to me, it almost feels like, because we've got a squaring off with the Imam Kawali, which has to do, like I said, with like ancestry and things that we're taught, Saturn, structure, things that we're taught, tradition, right? Black Moon Lilith, the place of shame. So things, maybe even some lineage work that we're dealing with, you know, like systems that we've been taught, religions that we've been taught that just are not connecting anymore. Maybe astrology, maybe actually looking and seeing what's in the sky instead of what is so saturated. Maybe it's that. And maybe, and it's not easy. It's not easy seeing these things, right? But squaring off, like I said, is a challenging area. So it's challenging these things, these structures, these religions, these systems that we have been taught, and maybe even where we carry some shame, you know, because if you don't fall in line, then it's shameful. Trust me, when I speak about true sidereal astrology and about Western tropical astrology not being accurate to what's in the sky, you get so much blowback from other people that still study that. Why? Or that acknowledge, even though they know that that's not what's actually in the sky. And I've got another video that I'm going to be recording today about the seasons. So why? The question is, maybe this is a great moon to ask yourself, why do we hold on, me including, why do I hold on to certain things that has been taught in my family? Just some ideas, but shedding light on, you know, and working with an expansion of nurturing ourselves and breaking free from these things that have been, you know, pushed on us, or that we've put on ourselves from maybe past lives, or from childhood, or from our religion, or from our society, or what have you. So that was a long way around how to look at it. But we're going to do something as simple as just using a spread. I'm sorry this has been so long, you know, so in depth, but I wanted to show you how many things can be affected just in one moon. You know, where the moon is, because the moon is the closest thing to us, right? The sun is way further out. The planets are further out. The moon is the closest to us. So that's why it's also affecting like women's cycles and our psyches and the water that we carry in our body and on the earth. So the moon is very important. So let me clean this up really quick and then we'll get started on the actual spread itself. By the way, the deck that I was showing is one of my other decks. It's the 13 sign astrology deck because it also includes Ophiuchus. And this is a deck that was designed really, really to help people understand how to read, to simplify the chart, okay? To help them understand all the symbols, what the houses mean, what the south node, north node, lunar eclipse, blah, 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 you name it. The different moon phases are all in here. And I do have walkthroughs of both of my decks on my channel if this is the first time you're coming here, or if you've just not seen those particular videos, because I do put out a lot of videos. So I have decided for today, this is the spread. If you want to take a screenshot, I'm also going to be making a probably video that I put on TikTok as well as in my shorts here on YouTube of this particular spread, but I also do like print out and put it in my community tab as well as for the Amethyst Ascension family group on Facebook. Okay, but I wanted to get this done ahead of time. So I've already set this up ahead of time. So these are actually all the questions. I already just took them off of this. I set this up ahead of time because, you know, I want it to look Leo-ish, you know, and the full moon back there. And, you know, I like my, my digital planners to be, you know, pretty. It makes me want to go back and look at them again. So I'm going to set this aside so that, and you know, so that I can do the spread. And I've decided to use the Tarot of Oneness. So sorry if I'm talking so fast, guys. I just don't want this to be super long. And obviously I'm going to want to reflect on my cards more. This is just going to be like a preliminary. So I'm not going to be writing in my journal in this video. So, full moon in Leo. So the questions for this spread are, where can I best embrace this energy? Now, like I said, for those that want to really dig into the astrology, that's why I showed what I did in the beginning and how you can break things down, where you can find it in your actual chart, where it is, you know, currently, universally in the sky, truly, which is 19 degrees. Granted, I am using midpoint calculations for the boundaries of the constellations instead of the IAU. So, first question is, where can I best embrace this energy? So, what area of my life can I best embrace the energy of the full moon in Leo? So I'm just going to take the top card. So strength. Right? Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Look, we have a bear here and it is like the king of the jungle, right? Is the lion, the Leo. So in strength, okay. Where do I need more confidence? Because Leos are known for being confident, sometimes overly confident. That's where my South Node happens to be also, is in Leo. Ooh. Okay. And death and rebirth. So, okay, that's interesting because let me tell you, with all of these solar flares that have been happening, let me tell you, I have been feeling them. And I've been talking to friends, and a lot of the same stuff has been happening to them too. Waking up in the middle of the night with a racing heart, wild dreams, just, yeah. So a lot of, like, I mean, there's a couple of times I woke up in the middle of the night going like, oh my God, am I going to die? Because I feel like my heart is just like pounding out of my chest. Granted, I was having some crazy, crazy dreams, but so more confidence in that death and rebirth process. No, come on. I haven't even asked the question yet. So, how can I balance my solar plexus? The solar plexus is one of the chakras that is very much associated with like personal power and confidence. And the thing about a Leo is that you can, they really when they're balanced, when they're balanced with all of their characteristics, just like the solar plexus, they are very confident, but in a humbling kind of way, if you know what I mean. They're not like overly egotistical, not overly confident. They're still open to listening, but when they are negatively expressed, they are overbearing, egotistical, they don't listen. And traditionally it's considered a fixed sign, so it can be very stubborn. They don't listen to anybody else, and they just want all the attention for themselves. Now, I don't necessarily look at it like that, but that is one of the stereotypes of Leo. So, and being like overly confident. I think we should be very confident, right? I embrace that ideal. How can I balance my solar plexus? How can I balance my solar plexus? Come on. Give me something. Okay, we'll take the top one. Okay. So maybe being like more methodical, planning more, being more structured. Okay. So that can help facilitate more balance in my solar plexus. So where am I too confident or egotistical? Where am I too confident, egotistical? Where am I too confident? Okay, give me half of the deck, please. Where am I too confident? I am a pretty confident person about most things, but where am I too confident? But do I think I'm too confident? I don't know. I don't think so, but you never know. Where am I too confident? Okay. Whoops. Okay, so I got the Fool. So to me, maybe that is just like being overly confident in areas that I just don't really know enough information about. You know, that I'm just new. And I know I am like that. When I get my mind stuck on something, I watch all kinds of stuff. So I can easily be pulled in by something. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like an all-in kind of person to a point where it's probably irritating to people around me because I'm like, I like zone in on that one thing. And then I like kill it. You know what I mean? I like hammer it into the ground. So on new things where I'm just like stepping my toe into it, maybe I'm too confident there and I should like give things time to gestate more or less, you know, do more research. That makes sense. Okay, and how can I apply more modesty? how can I apply more modesty? Take the top card. Ah, okay, so 3 of Cups. So more modesty in like ventures that I do with other people. Sharing in with friends, my circle of friends. Maybe just letting them take center stage more. See, I don't know about that. I don't ascribe to this idea of dulling yourself down for somebody else. I don't ascribe to that. So, oops, I got that in the wrong order. So more modesty and just maybe, and see, I like being opinionated. If you can't be opinionated with your friends, how can you? I mean, if you can't be your true, authentic self with your friends, then why are they your friends? So I don't ascribe to that either. I don't know. I'm going to have to germinate on that one a little bit. Let it percolate, right? Don't just jump in and think that you know all the answers. So there you go, guys. I will end up putting all of these cards over here, take pictures, put them in over here, and then do my write-up over here. So, and you'll see my my journal, my digital journal at the end of the month when I'm wrapping up everything. So I hope you have enjoyed this. I will be putting the Leo spread questions down below in the description of the video. Please leave me a comment whether or not you like these kind of videos. Because when I leave like community posts and stuff, I don't think people get notifications. I know I don't get notifications when people do community posts. I never do. I never have. And I follow so many people that I can't go to everybody's community post all the time. I don't remember to do that. I mean, I follow over like 500 and some people. And that was actually paring it down. So I decided to do videos, maybe showing these and working through these. And probably the other ones, I won't be showing like all of the aspects of, you know, astrology. But I just wanted to show people how in depth you can really get with a moon reading, or how you can keep it simple with like a spreads deck like what I have already created. Or you can go online. There's tons of spreads that you can find for the different, you know, full moon in Leo, full moon in Virgo, whatever. You can find those. There's endless spreads, even like on Pinterest and stuff like that. So thank you for spending this time with me, and I am sending you love always.